Section 8 Overview. How to create basic aggregation matrices, how to configure data suitable for graph visualizations, how these graphs can be displayed. Section 8A. Aggregation matrix. An aggregation matrix takes data from the repository and performs a predefined calculation to obtain results. This also enables users to configure their information in a suitable format. The example we will use relates to a location classroom type. The initial creation of an aggregation matrix is the same as a datasheet matrix, but in this instance, we will create it from the matrices library. The first step in doing an aggregation matrix is to open up matrices in the library section towards the bottom of the Explorer bar. Right-click on General Matrices and choose Open and New. You will now need to specify which element will own the matrix, and as we are referring to locations, we will select #locations. To assist locating the matrix later, we shall provide it with a suitable title of location classroom type. We now need to define a source query. The source query will consist of all locations by returning all the children of #locations. Select the source query button at the top of the page. Select the starting point as From Elements. Drag and drop #locations into the starting point. Drag and drop the Find Children button on the right hand side into the source query. Aggregation matrices require further configuration than a datasheet matrix, and the majority of this comes in the form of the Designer tab, which allows us to construct the grouping of data that we will require. Select the Designer tab at the top of the page. In this instance, we are interested in all of the locations. Therefore, in the Facts section, select Add. Then amend the Sum option to Count. This will return all the locations without any intervention. Click OK once done. Having ensured all locations have been returned, we now need to group them in a manner needed. For this, we will use a room type pick list. To do this, we choose the Add a Dimension option shown on the left hand side of the fact. Next, under the Add a Level option, we are going to choose the room type pick type located under the Simple Types tab. If we then execute the matrix, we will see that the locations have been grouped by room type. Now save your matrix before proceeding to the next step, in which we will use these results to produce a graph. Section 8B, Creating a Pie Chart. In order to display data in a graphical rather than tabular manner, we can use a multitude of visualizations. In the example below, we shall show some of the most common. In order to do this, we shall first create a view for the graph to be displayed by creating a new view under #views. This will be called Column and Pie Chart View. The first visual we are going to create will be a pie chart using the aggregation matrix we have just created. In order to do this, we need to open the column and pie chart view, and then select Graph from the Insert section of the Home ribbon. Navigate to the recently created view, select Graphs, and click on the pie chart graph from the drop-down box. A pop-up will appear allowing you to specify which information you wish to show. In this instance, we will use the Information Shown option to pick the Location Classroom Type matrix from under the Matrix option. The information we created in the aggregation matrix earlier was in columns, and therefore we need to change the series taken from option from rows to columns. Upon clicking OK, you will then be presented with a pie chart showing the breakdown of location classroom type. Section 8C, Creating a Column Chart Graph. Aggregation matrices aren't the only method of displaying charts. In the next example, we will see how this can be achieved by using queries. First, we need to identify the information that we wish to display. So we need to access general queries found under the Queries section. Right-click and choose Open. By selecting New, we can then title the query 00.09 Cost of Subject with a Qualification, and then double-click on the query to open it. To create this query, we shall first return all the hashtag subjects and then look to filter by choosing only those which have a qualification and are over 20 days in length. Having done so, save your query. Start by selecting elements from the starting position and drag and drop hashtag subjects. Then select Find Children from the navigation ribbon on the right-hand side. The next step is to add the qualification filter. Select Where as an AND condition, and then scroll down to where it says Where Pick List. Select the field as Qualification. Select Is One Of, and then select the Yes button. The next step is to add a where condition for course length days. Select and then scroll down to where it says Where Number field. From the Choose a Field drop-down box, select Course Length Days. Then select It's Greater Than, and then type in the number 20. Then click Save. The next step is to create a column chart running off this query. Navigate back to the previously created column and pie chart view and choose a column type graph from the Graphs option at the navigation ribbon at the top of the page. To select the information shown, select the Click to Select option, and then under the Queries option, pick the newly created 00.9 Cost of Subject with a Qualification query. Having now selected the elements we are interested in, we need to choose the particular information we wish to display by choosing Select Fields. The subject of the window that is displayed will need to be amended by clicking on the Information For option and choosing #subjects. Click the uppermost arrow to return the subject details. Finally, as the information we are interested in is the cost, choose Cost Per Delegate and then click OK twice. The chart will now appear on the view. However, the user will more than likely wish to amend the look and feel of the chart. For example, the chart could be stretched to fit across the length of the view, or perhaps via the Style ribbon, you may wish to adjust the width of the bars in order to distinguish more individually. Users also have the ability to adjust not only the general style of the chart, but also an individual axis, such as adjusting the x-axis angle to 45 degrees, meaning the subject names will appear in an angled manner. Feel free to play around with the style functions in order to personalize the look and feel of the chart. To practice creating columns and pie charts and the underlying architecture that goes underneath them, there are a number of exercises which can be carried out. Exercise 8.1 is create a new view called Bar Chart / Donut Examples. Exercise 8.2 is create a bar chart that shows all locations, seat capacity and display on the new view. Exercise 8.3 is create a donut chart that shows all tutors' evening working status. To create this, use an aggregation matrix to provide the data. Please refer to the course notes for examples on how these should look.